Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about this very quick 30-second habit that can change everything and will help basically condition your mind for success. So hopefully you have a goal. It's important that you have a goal, you have something that you're trying to achieve in this video. It's very important that you're very clear on what your goal is. And basically this habit, this really easy 30-second habit that you can do every single day, it may even take less than 30 seconds depending on your goal, but the habit is simply just writing down your major goal every day. So if your goal is to earn 1 million, then that's what you will write. You'll say, I want to earn 1 million. That's what you got to write. That's what you got to write down every single day. So the reason why this works is that it keeps you focused on your goal, because life tends to happen. We get caught up in daily activities, and sometimes it can be difficult to remind ourselves of the things that we really want. Sometimes you might get inspired and you might remember your goal when you're, watching a YouTube video or when you're listening to music. But when you're doing your daily activities, sometimes you can, not think about it. And basically what you want to do is you want to be thinking about it all the time. You want to be thinking about it continuously. You want to be thinking about it every day, not just when you're in that typical inspired state and not when you feel like it. So it's the best time to probably write it down is in the morning, because then you've got the whole day basically. But it doesn't really matter really too much what time you write it down. Just whenever you have a moment, write down your major goal. So if you've got a journal, it's very easy to do that, because usually most journals have like today's date in it. So you quickly just write down what your goal is, and then you can write down whatever else you write down in your journal or something like that. Or you can just simply write it down in a notebook or on a memo on your phone. So just keeping it actively in your mind really, really helps you stay focused on it. And that's the important thing that I want you to get from this, and that is focusing on your major goal. And one of the best ways you can do that is to remind yourself about it every single day. Because there was I did a Tony Robbins program, and it's a program that I've done a lot, and it's called Personal Power 2. And in one of the exercises on that motivational CDs that he made for that, there is a goal setting workshop. And the first time I did this was probably around like 2017, maybe 2016. I can't quite remember when, but it was a while ago, the first time that I ever done it. And when I went back and looked on what I wrote that many years ago, there was goals on there that I forgot that I written about. If you just write it down once, you just write down your goal once, you are going to forget about it over time. So if you really, really want something, do this habit. It's not going to take very long, just 30 seconds of your day to write down your major goal. Now, it may be the case that you want to add additional goals to it, because this works for any kind of goal that you have, but it's really important that that major important goal that you have is written down every day so you can remind yourself of it. Another thing that may help as well is actually writing down your goal and like tagging it to your mirror. So put like a post-it note on your mirror. Now this is something I learned from the book Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. David Goggins, amazing guy, one of my favorite motivational speakers. His story is absolutely incredible. So if you haven't read his book or listened to the audiobook of Can't Hurt Me, I really recommend that you do, by David Goggins. Amazing story. So it's such a great story, really inspirational. David Goggins like really helped me, that his method, listening to his book, really helped me lose weight when I wanted to lose weight, and I lost probably about 2 or 3 stone. I've never been like overweight, but I needed to get healthy about a year ago, because I was starting a pregnancy journey, which obviously hasn't quite come to fruition just yet, because with fertility clinics, these kinds of things take time. But I wanted to get really healthy. So one of the things that I did additional stuff as well, but one of the things I did was lose a couple of stone, because I needed to do that, because it made my menstruation really irregular and things like that, which is not good if you're trying to conceive. So listening to his audiobook as I worked out and just throughout the day really, really helped me stay motivated to lose weight. So one of the things anyway that he has in his book is the accountability mirror, which is basically where you put goals on your mirror, because it reminds you of basically the things that you want to achieve. So get your major goal and put it on a mirror, or put it somewhere where you go a lot. It might be that you have it on the background of your phone. But the reason why having it on a mirror works so well is because if you don't achieve it or you're slacking, you can have a good talking with yourself. And look yourself in the eye and say to yourself basically that you need to achieve this goal. This goal is really important to you. There's other ways that you can use the accountability mirror as well. The way that David explains it in his book Can't Hurt Me is, if your major goal, let's say, is to lose 50 pounds, you put on the mirror to lose 1 pound that week, and then you take it off, and then you put another one up the following week for another 2 pounds or whatever it may be. So you might want to have like little goals on there as well, but definitely have your major goal somewhere where you see it frequently. But obviously, this habit that I'm talking about where you write it down every day helps as well, and keeping you reminded of that goal. And actually the physical task of writing it down really helps as well, because for me, like if I want to learn something, then what I need to do is I just need to write it out. Usually reading doesn't help retain it as much, or listening doesn't help retain it as much. But when I write things down, I tend to remember them a lot more. And that's just something more, it's just an added benefit basically if you write it down, if you're physically writing it down. You can write it down on like a memo on your phone or something like that, or on a Word document on your computer. That is good, but preferably doing the actual physical action of writing it down, I think has just that added effect. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but I personally would prefer to just write it down physically with a pen and paper. So basically why this works is that what you think about, you bring about. And if you've always got your goal in the forefront of your mind, you're much more likely to take action on it. You're much more likely to be thinking about it more. You're much more likely to be coming up with plans to achieve it. So basically it just sticks in your mind a lot more. And if you're thinking about your goal a lot, like I said, you're just more likely to take action on it. And the repetition of writing it down every day will keep it rooted in your mind. Because like I said, like there are some goals that I wrote when I did that personal power program that I completely forgot about that I wanted to do. Now, some of those goals weren't, really that important, but it's just amazing how, you can write down some goals and completely forget about half of them. So that's why it's important that you rewrite and keep on writing these things down every day, so it can help remind you. So there's like an audio program. It only goes on for like 20 minutes to half an hour, called The Stranger's Secret by Earl Nightingale. And you can search it up on YouTube. Just type in The Stranger's Secret and it should come up. It's like a 30-minute audio, so you should be able to recognize it. And basically what Earl Nightingale said was the strangest secret in the world was that we become what we think about. Which I think is really, really true. Like, we don't really pay much attention to basically how our mind works and what we can actually do with our minds. Like, our minds are amazing. So our brains are a magnificent machine. And usually, most of the time, most human beings just think about the same thoughts over and over again every single day. But what we need to do, if we want to become more successful, if we want to attain our goals, whatever it may be, then you need to be thinking about these things continuously, because a lot of us run on autopilot. We do things that are expedient. Our brains are actually I say our brains are magnificent machines, but they're also very lazy. You're more likely to do the things that are expedient rather than the things that require a lot of effort. So it's easy to basically think about all the thoughts that we've previously thought about because they're just kind of circling in our brain naturally anyway. But to change our thinking takes a lot of effort. So even though this habit is only 30 seconds where you're just rewriting your goal down every day, it's probably likely that most people who try it will only do it for a few days because, like I said, our brains can be a bit lazy. So if we want to achieve our goal, we must be continually thinking about it, which is why writing it down is super, super important. And I'm just going to give you like a quick little formula of how you can basically keep it in your brain. So if you keep on thinking about your goal, like consciously making the effort to think about your goal, and you keep thinking of ways to achieve your goal, so that means thinking up plans, like how can I do this? That's a great question to ask yourself. How can I do this? When you're thinking about your goal, you're thinking about your goal and you ask yourself, how can I do this? How can I achieve this? What can I do to get there? And then of course the next important thing about that formula is acting on it, getting yourself into an inspired state so you can get yourself motivated, basically get yourself a bit of drive and focus on taking action on your goal, taking inspired action on those plans that you've been thinking about once you've asked, how can I do this? How can I do this? Taking action on the answers that you get from your brain when you say, how can I do this? How can I do this? And taking action on those plans. You have to take action. It's not enough to just think about stuff. Even Abraham Hicks, who says like the feeling is like the most important thing. Like if you feel great, you're going to manifest great things. If you're always feeling joy, because like their main song in their programs is like joy is the key, and joy is the key. But also, Abraham, says, even, we're not telling you not to take action, but you've got to take the right kinds of action. You have to take the inspired action, the action that comes from when you're feeling good. Even Abraham Hicks, he says a lot about how the feeling is so important. Doesn't say that you should not take action and you should just lay there. You should also be taking action. And that's so, so important. I can't stress enough how important action is. But it doesn't mean that you have to do it in a way that you don't like. You do it in a way that you enjoy. Find ways how you can achieve your goal in a way that makes you feel good, that feels good to you. Even if it's, a task that you don't typically like doing, how can you make it more fun for yourself? Like, how can you make it more enjoyable? Like, for example, you might do it like, let's say, outside in your garden. So if you have to write like a blog post, perhaps you go outside and do it. Or perhaps if you want to exercise, you do a method that you enjoy. Perhaps you've been running, but you realize that you don't like running, so therefore you try out swimming, or you try out like something like taekwondo. Do it in a way that you enjoy and you can still get the same results. So let's make a quick action plan that I would love for you to start doing today. So the first thing, obviously, is to write down your major goal. What is it that you want to achieve? Write it down. Secondly, get yourself into an inspired mood, an inspirational mood. Do whatever it takes. Maybe it's listening to an inspirational piece of music. Perhaps it's listening to Eminem or something. Perhaps it's doing like a visualization exercise. Whatever gets you inspired. Obviously, I don't know what gets you inspired. Only you know what gets you inspired, what gets you in the inspirational mood. So do whatever it takes basically to get yourself in an inspired mood. And usually when you're in an inspired mood, you sometimes get like plans like just drop into your head of what you can do to achieve your goal. What can you do today to get yourself a little bit further? Or it might be a plan that that you're already on the journey of, and you just want to take some action on some of the things that you've already been doing. So get yourself into an inspired mood, and then of course do at least one thing today towards your goal. It could be calling up someone, it could be writing a blog post, it could be uploading a video to YouTube, but take some kind of action today. It doesn't have to be loads of things, but at least trying to do one thing, depending on obviously what it is that you're trying to achieve. What can you do today to move yourself closer to that goal? And that's what I would really love for you to do today if you possibly can. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like on it, and please do subscribe, because that really does help my channel out and it helps these videos reach more people. That would really be greatly appreciated. And I hope to talk to you guys again very soon. Goodbye.